The first time that I meet Sean is at a house party the summer before junior year of high school. And I notice him and the way he's looking at me. Most of the other guys look through me somehow, their eyes hard and unaffectionate, but Sean's different. When he looks at me, he doesn't see the parts of myself that are broken. and I feel this unfamiliar safety under his gaze. My first day of junior year, I am tickled to see him walk into my history class and have Mr. Tucker assign our seats next to each other. We exchange a few glances and offer a few timid hellos. And at the end of the period, we're instructed to partner up and complete a worksheet. My heart beating fast, I turn to Sean and ask him if he'd like to be my partner. Playfully, he answers, "Yeah, I'd love to be your partner." Teasing back, I reply with this affected, "I am so touched." It's very awkward. And we share a slight laugh, but I sense something underneath it. A small amount of relief regarding my request. The potential of being an outsider, a seeming threat for him as well. I'm over the moon the first night he asked me to hang out with him. So I'm anxious to make the best impression. So I check out his AIM profile, and how else did we do it? And I see this song quote from Rock's Tonic Juice Magic by Saves the Day. Fucking awful song, but I commit that shit to memory. I download it, burn it onto a mix CD, head to his place, and, conveniently come upon the track, just as he opens the passenger door to my car. "Oh, I love this song," he cries out. "No way!" And we sing with jubilance. The streetlights of our quaint little town appearing brighter than ever. Is that from you?
Sorry.
Was that you, Dad? Anyhow. So he invites me to sleep over this Saturday night, and we take turns shotgunning cans of Coors Light in his bedroom. And then we get kind of drunk, and we start to write these like silly little poems, like expressing our mutual affection for our friendship in rhyming verse. As the night goes on, the tone of my little ditties become a little more sincere. They may as well be written in lipstick, and the loose leaf spritzed with Estee Lauder, but I aim to communicate something platonic, masking any amorous undertones he could potentially detect. Very late in the night, we sit out at the fire pit in his backyard and just talk. And Sean tells me that before I ever met him, he had been friends with Neil, this popular boy in his class who, for some reason, decided to drop Sean before junior year began. He begins to tell me how cruel Neil has been to him, and he can't understand why. I tell him, Neil doesn't know he's missing out on the most special person in the world. He sits quiet for several moments before saying, "I'm really glad we're friends." And then starts to softly cry. And as he weeps, his skin begins to tear, shredding at the seams like a rag doll, exposing fabric and bone, his appendages dangling from the joints. I sat watching, just yearning to suture his wounds and make him whole again. But I remained still and listened. And sitting on my desire to stitch a button where his eye should be, I feel myself unravel until my frayed body mirrors his, both of us coming undone. I can no longer discern his pain from my own, and we sit together for hours, the threads of our hearts swaying in the autumn night air. After that night, I begin to feel a kind of care for Sean that I never knew existed. This one cold winter Sunday, we stay in at his place and we watch the Rocky Marathon on TNT. So butch. And laying in his bed, he curls up next to me, puts his head on my chest and says, "If we were gay, do you think we would be boyfriends?" I'm not sure what the fuck to do with that. I say, yeah, I would totally be a boyfriend. And then laughing into my collarbone, he cries out, "Oh, how come?" And I just blurt out simply, "Because I love you." Sean looks up at me smiling, and then he shoves me off the bed until I roll onto the floor. And then I hop back up and tackle him in bed and fight with all my might to pin him. And with the smell of his hair and warmth of his breath and weight of his body all over me, I'm falling for him, resisting the urge to thrust my pelvis into his and taste the inside of his mouth. It's pure bliss and torment all at once. I love loving him, but I hate what it makes me. It's spring of our junior year when I can't bear the secrecy. Nor can I bear the false encouragement I give to him to go after girls he likes, or the times I convince him against it out of excruciating jealousy. I sit down and I write, "I'm sorry. Please don't hate me. I have feelings for you and I don't know what to do." Standing in Sean's living room, my hands are trembling, and I hand him the letter and instruct him not to read it until I've left. "I don't like this, Michael," he says. I apologize, turn, and walk out. 3 hours later, I get a call from Sean. And his tone is cautious, but kind. "Of course we'll still be friends," he says. But this summer, a girl comes into his life, and he spends almost all of his time with her. Oh, and I miss him. Sometimes I take him the long way home so I can drive by his house just to feel some semblance of him in my life. I leave him messages, but I don't really hear back. Not quite accepting that he doesn't want to spend this time with me. But now school has started again, and it's the first home football game of our senior year. And I got it all planned out in my head. Okay. So this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna be in the stands, rooting for the Ramskins or whatever. I know will make Sean laugh, and then he'll, like chime in, and then we'll play off of each other, and then we'll start talking, and then, we'll go back to his place, and we'll have a beer and watch a movie, and things will be how they once were. I walk along the stands and inconspicuously search for Sean in the crowd. I finally spot him in his gray sweatshirt. The one he'd been wearing this time that I fell asleep in his car, and he woke me up with the gentle touch of the back of his hand against my cheek. I make my way up the bleachers, and I stand next to our classmate Chris, who's to the left of Sean. And I crack a joke that makes Chris laugh. And then I hear the familiar sound of my friend Sean's voice cry out, "Chris, do you like faggots?" I hear him say it again and again, not really sure what's real and what's happening in my mind. And suddenly it's like someone else's legs are carrying me down the bleachers and back to my car that I've parked in the senior lot. And I leave the game, miles away from my own body, a distance I remain over the next semester. My school day is dark and lonely, peppered with these humiliating moments of the room falling silent when I enter and catching Sean make faces at me out of the corner of my eye. We're never friends again. Fortunately, my loneliness is assuaged when I start to hang out with my other friend, Christian. Now, okay, so... Okay, Christian... Okay, so there's a line in Tell the Wolves I'm Home. It's a novel by Carol Brunt that it spells it out for you. It encapsulates what it is I adore about Christian. Things you'd never even seen with Finn could remind you of him, because he was the one person you'd want to show. Look at that, you'd want to say. Because you knew he would find a way to think it was wonderful, to make you feel like the most observant person in the world for spotting it. This one night, I pick him up at his place and we go to this abandoned lot and smoke a joint together in my car. And after I take this like monster hit, I blurt out in between giggles, "I'm a stoned fag." Oh. Oh. And Christian, being Christian, goes like this. Say it again. Say it again, man. Oh, and I finally relax, and I look him in the eye, and I say, "I'm a stoned fag." Christian smiles lovingly and puts his hand on my knee and looks back at me as if to say, "Attaboy." It's the first time I feel fully seen by a male friend. When we leave for college, maintaining connection proves to be difficult. I make a lot of efforts, but I don't really hear back. I guess varied exceptions of messages that are like, hey, sorry I've been so out of touch, and these vague descriptions of how he's doing. And the more time that passes, the less we speak. And I search for him in all the men I meet, looking for someone that can make me feel special, and from whom I'm gonna need more than they're able to give. Now 22 years old, I'm driving home from my restaurant job in Connecticut when Christian's older brother, Nick, calls me. So good to hear from him. Not just because he's really cute, but I don't know, the continued bond with Christian's family just offers this sense that what he and I shared in our adolescence wasn't yet lost. But I noticed something in Nick's voice. It's cordial, but distant. And I begin to sense that something's very wrong. That's when he tells me. Christian killed himself. I feel numb, and suddenly it's as if everything I'm aware of is underwater. I tell Nick how sorry I am, and he tells me he'll be in touch regarding the services. I assure him I'll be there. As I continue my drive back home, I put in a mix CD that Christian made for me back in high school, keeping beach music by the Watchmen on repeat. And as I turn up a hill, something catches the corner of my eye. A family of deer at the side of the road, all staring at me, as I gently hit my brakes and come to a complete stop. I sit in awe, just gazing at these magnificent creatures. And I say softly to myself, look at that, Christian.